The beginning. The heavy rain continued relentlessly in the quiet night. Each raindrop falling felt like an eternal tear that would never dry. Inside the old car, Linda sat motionless, her gaze lost as she stared through the foggy window, her mind drifting to memories long buried. Her daughter, Emily, had disappeared on a rainy night like this more than 20 years ago. Linda had always wondered if Emily was truly gone, or if she was somewhere out there, waiting for a chance to return tonight. Linda received a strange message. "I'm back, Mom." Those simple words felt like the world around her was crumbling. She couldn't believe it. Emily had been missing since she was very young, and no one knew where she had gone. The forgotten past. Linda vividly remembered that stormy night, the night she had to abandon Emily. The raging storm swept everything away, and in an instant, everything became so chaotic that it was irreparable. She remembered Emily standing in the room, looking at her with eyes full of confusion and fear. Why did Mom abandon me? That was the question she couldn't answer, because even she didn't understand why she did it. After that night, Linda lived with regret and haunting memories. Sleepless nights, nightmares about her daughter being left alone in the dark, and the question that would always haunt her: why did I leave her alone? The unexpected call. More than 20 years had passed, and Linda tried to move on, but the pain never faded. Then, one day, she received an unexpected phone call. "Mom, I'm back." The voice on the other end was strangely familiar. Linda couldn't believe her ears. It could have been a prank, but something about Emily's voice made it impossible to ignore. She couldn't understand why her daughter had returned after so many years. When Emily appeared before Linda, she was no longer the little girl she once knew. Her long black hair was messy, and her eyes glowed with an eerie intensity. But what terrified Linda even more was the coldness and distance in her gaze. Her daughter was no longer the child she remembered. The strange shadow. However, there was something very strange. Every time Emily moved, a shadowy, unclear figure always seemed to follow her. Linda sensed a chilling presence. Something wasn't right. She couldn't explain it, but the feeling of fear started to rise inside her. Emily had not only changed her appearance, but had brought with her a threat that Linda couldn't understand. She tried to ask her daughter about the years she had been missing, but Emily remained silent. Only her gaze, dark and mysterious, made Linda feel that something else was lurking behind that gaze, something far darker and more terrifying than she could imagine. The strange reappearance. Linda couldn't shake the strange feeling she was experiencing. When Emily reappeared in her life, everything began to change. Her black hair was tangled, and her dark eyes were filled with an unsettling and eerie sadness. Linda felt that something was wrong with her daughter, as if she was no longer herself. They had a brief conversation after Emily stepped inside the house. Linda couldn't understand why Emily had changed so much. "Mom, I can't explain it all to you," Emily said, her voice deep and cold. Warnings from others. One day, Linda met an old friend, Mrs. Jenny, someone she had known for a long time. "Do you feel something is off, Mrs. Jenny asked when she noticed the worried expression on Linda's face. "That girl. She's not like she used to be," Linda felt uneasy, but couldn't put it into words. The questions kept swirling in her mind. Is Emily really my daughter? Jenny looked at Linda with a doubtful expression. Be careful. Linda, there are things you shouldn't dig too deep into. Sometimes, the souls never truly leave. Strange occurrences after Emily's return. Strange things began to happen in the house. On the first night, when Linda woke up in the middle of the night, she saw the window in Emily's room wide open, even though she was sure she had locked it. A dim light from the room illuminated the hallway, and Linda could hear a soft sigh from within, like a silent cry, echoing through the dark night. When Linda entered the room, Emily wasn't there, but as soon as she turned around, a figure stood waiting at the end of the hallway, with eyes burning bright like fire. Linda froze, her eyes fixed on that shadowy figure. The darkness falls, Linda felt an eerie presence in the house. It was as if someone was always watching her and Emily, a cold gaze she couldn't escape from. The more time passed, the more Linda's anxiety grew. Every night, when she slept, she would dream of strange things. Emily, no longer the girl she once knew, but a strange figure with hollow eyes and a bizarre voice. Linda decided she had to get to the bottom of this, but every time she tried to investigate, things became even more incomprehensible. The strange occurrences not only happened inside the house, but began to spread to those around them. The price to pay, Linda couldn't avoid the fear as she realized that something was terribly wrong. Emily had not only changed in appearance, but had become much colder and more mysterious. Her nightmares became increasingly vivid and terrifying. Linda sensed a clear threat coming from her daughter. Every time she looked into Emily's eyes, it felt like staring into something incredibly dark and inexplicable. Linda decided to seek help from an old woman who had experience with supernatural phenomena. The search for the truth. The old woman warned Linda about a dark entity that might have possessed Emily. It's not Emily anymore, she said. A spirit has taken over her, and now it's trying to escape your control. Linda felt like the world around her was collapsing. The old woman gave her an amulet, telling her it could keep her daughter safe for a short while. A growing sense of threat. After receiving the amulet from the old woman, Linda felt slightly relieved. However, the feeling of unease never left her. Every time Emily came near, Linda felt something was off. Her daughter's gaze, the cold, emotionless look, made Linda feel like she was living with a stranger, not the daughter she once loved. One night, when Linda woke in the middle of the night, she saw Emily standing at the end of the hallway, her eyes devoid of any emotion, just emptiness. Linda walked closer to her daughter, but Emily didn't move. Linda felt a chill down her spine as she realized that the figure before her was not the Emily she once knew. Supernatural phenomena escalating. The strange occurrences began to escalate. The following night, as Linda was about to sleep, she heard a knock on the door. But when she opened it, no one was there. However, a cold wind swept through, making her feel chilled to the bone. Whispering voices began to echo in the house, soft, indecipherable words, as if spirits were calling from some distant place. It felt as though invisible ghosts were lurking around them. Linda felt she couldn't endure it any longer. The threat was not only coming from Emily, but from some dark force trying to claim her little girl's soul. Seeking help, Linda knew she couldn't continue living in this fear. She reached out to a specialist in supernatural phenomena, Mr. William, a well-known figure in solving mysterious events. When he arrived at Linda's house, he immediately sensed the presence of something unnatural. He asked to meet Emily, and as she entered the room, he immediately realized, "This is not the girl you raised." Linda felt as though everything had spiraled out of control. The truth behind the spirit. William explained that Emily had been possessed by a dark spirit, and that spirit was trying to escape from the confines of the living. "We cannot save her unless we free that spirit," he said. Linda felt as though all hope had shattered. She had lost Emily long ago, and now all that remained was a spirit that couldn't be saved. The exorcism ritual. Mr. William suggested performing an exorcism ritual to release the spirit from Emily's body. Linda had no other choice. She was willing to do anything to save her daughter, even if it meant facing the unimaginable. The darkness rises as the ritual began. A strong wind swept through, extinguishing all the lights. Everything around them plunged into darkness. Linda felt the presence of an immense force. She heard a mocking laugh echoing from the shadows. And a cold voice from Emily said, "You can't save me." Linda felt the utmost fear, but she was determined not to give up. She couldn't let the dark spirit take her daughter. The final confrontation with the spirit. The dark spirit had fully taken over Emily. She was no longer the daughter Linda once knew. Emily stood in the middle of the room, her eyes glowing red, her mouth muttering curses. Linda walked closer, and in that moment, she knew this was the final confrontation. The spirit fights back. The dark spirit within Emily's body refused to give up easily. She stepped back, her mouth twisting into an eerie grin, her eyes glowing bright red. A cold wind swept through, causing objects in the house to fly about in disarray. Emily giggled, each laugh a sharp blade cutting through the silence of the room. Linda felt like she was facing something that was no longer her daughter. She screamed, "Emily, you are my daughter. You are not this spirit." But all she received was mocking laughter from Emily. The spirit tries to escape as Linda tried to maintain her composure. The dark spirit continued to resist violently. Emily began to sway, as if her body was being racked with the invisible force's grip. The girl staggered, then suddenly screamed, causing the very air in the house to shake. Linda was terrified, but she couldn't stop. She stood up, took the crucifix Mr. William had given her, clutched it tightly, and moved toward Emily. She had to fight to save her daughter, no matter the cost. The feeling of power in her hands as Linda moved closer. She felt a freezing cold radiating from the crucifix into her hand. A strange power surged through her, allowing her to sense the presence of the dark spirit. The crucifix began to glow, and the surroundings seemed to be enveloped in a powerful beam of light. Emily growled in fury, but Linda did not retreat. She shouted, "Get out of my daughter!" Even though her body trembled with fear, Linda could feel the power of protection from the crucifix. Alza. The final destruction, the crucifix emitted a powerful light, illuminating the entire room, and the surroundings began to tremble. Emily lost control of her body. She fell to her knees, screaming uncontrollably, her red eyes slowly returning to their normal black color. The dark spirit was gradually being pushed out. The cold sensation in the house slowly disappeared. The shadows around the room seemed to vanish, and peace began to return. Emily slowly collapsed to the floor, completely exhausted. Emily wakes up. Linda knelt beside her daughter, calling her name. Emily slowly opened her eyes, her dark eyes shining once again. But this time, there was no coldness or darkness in them. Emily looked at her mother with surprised and frightened eyes. "Mom, what did I do?" Emily mumbled, her voice hoarse. Linda hugged her daughter tightly, feeling the warmth of her body. Her daughter had returned, but Linda knew that this battle wasn't over, as the dark spirit could return at any time. The remaining traces, Emily had woken up and was no longer possessed by the dark spirit. However, Linda couldn't shake the feeling of fear in her heart. Although Emily had returned, the traces of the dark spirit still lingered. Emily may have been saved, but the changes in her were not so easily erased. There were moments when Linda saw a strange look in her daughter's eyes, as if the dark spirit still existed somewhere within Emily. Linda knew that even though they had won, the battle wasn't over. Sleepless nights, Linda couldn't sleep. The long nights without rest made her feel exhausted. She heard whispers in the darkness, as if spirits were returning to claim her daughter. One night, when she woke up, she saw Emily standing at the end of the bed, her dark eyes emotionless. "I'm not your daughter anymore." "Am I?" Linda asked in a choked voice. Emily didn't answer, only staring at her mother with those eyes. Life after the victory, it returned to normal, but the wounds in Linda's heart weren't easily healed. She looked at Emily every day and felt like a part of her had been lost forever. Emily started to change, slowly returning to her life. But every time she smiled, Linda couldn't help but remember what had happened. Linda knew that even though they lived a normal life, the fear and memories of the dark spirit would never truly disappear. Life goes on. As time passed, Linda slowly realized that even though the dark spirits may have left her daughter, the changes in Emily were always present. She couldn't go back to who she once was, but at least Emily had come back to life. She had fought and survived, and that was a victory that Linda felt at peace with. But in her heart, there was a lingering fear. Could the darkness return? Could the dark spirit take Emily again? These questions had no answers, but Linda understood that life would never have a clear ending. New signs, finally. One night, as Linda was about to sleep, she heard strange noises in the house. A familiar feeling surged back. She rushed downstairs and stood in front of Emily's room door. Behind the door, a shadow flickered in the darkness. Just then, Emily appeared from the shadows, and once again, Linda realized that this battle wasn't truly over. The story isn't over, huh? The old mirror in a large, old house on the outskirts of New Orleans. Lily, a young girl, had just moved in to live with her mother and younger brother. The house was vast and empty, with dusty walls and antiques that her grandmother had left behind. In Lily's bedroom, there was a large mirror placed on a vanity table. It was the only item her mother insisted on keeping, even though it had been around for as long as Lily could remember and looked foggy and outdated. A strange feeling about the mirror. Lily always felt something strange about that mirror. Every time she looked into it, she felt like someone was watching her from the other side, as if a pair of eyes were hidden somewhere in the dark. One night, when Lily woke up in the middle of the night, she saw a shadowy figure in the mirror. She rubbed her eyes in disbelief, but when she looked again, she couldn't see anything. Yet, the eerie cold feeling still lingered around her. The feeling of fear and coldness every time Lily looked into the mirror. Her unease grew stronger, especially at night, when the room was enveloped in darkness. She felt as if the mirror had a life of its own. One night, when Lily woke up in the middle of the night, she saw a strange scene reflected in the mirror. A shadowy figure stood still behind her, but when she turned around, no one was there. It was the first time she truly felt scared. Sleepless nights since that night. Lily began to feel that something was terribly wrong. She couldn't sleep well, and every time she closed her eyes, she heard faint whispers, like footsteps coming from the mirror. The feeling grew stronger whenever she was near the mirror at night. Lily couldn't bring herself to tell her mother about what she was going through, as her mother always dismissed it as typical nightmares for someone her age. A strange night one night, while sitting in her room and staring into the mirror, Lily suddenly saw a figure appear behind her. She turned around, but no one was there. She looked into the mirror again, and this time, the figure had moved closer, as if it was standing right behind her. Lily turned back again, but this time, she saw a strange face appear in the mirror, with glowing red eyes. Whispers and growing unease, as Lily began to sense the presence of something unseen. The cold feeling from the mirror intensified. One night, when she was sitting alone in her room, she heard soft whispers from behind her, but when she turned around, no one was there. The whispers seemed to come from the mirror, and Lily grew more and more certain that the mirror was trying to communicate with her. The mystery of the mirror. One morning, Lily decided to investigate the strange mirror she felt was growing increasingly dangerous. She searched through the family library and discovered an old book belonging to her mother. In the book, Lily read a story about the mirror that once belonged to a woman named Margaret, who had mysteriously disappeared in this house many years ago. The ancient spirit, the story in the book, revealed that Margaret was a woman haunted by an ancient spirit, and the mirror was the tool through which the spirit could possess others. These spirits never left. They always sought to take over the bodies of the living, to gain freedom. Lily felt a chill down her spine as she realized that the ancient spirit had taken possession of the mirror, and now it was trying to claim her. The search for a way out. Lily couldn't stay still, knowing that the ancient spirit was trying to claim her. She decided to find out more about how to free herself from the mirror. After some research, Lily discovered an ancient ritual that was said to banish spirits and destroy the mirror. However, this ritual was very dangerous and could have serious consequences. Preparing for the ritual, Lily decided to perform the ritual she had found in the old book. She prepared all the necessary items: a white candle, a black cloth, and a wooden staff. All of these items were meant to help drive away the evil spirit, but Lily couldn't shake the fear. She knew that if the ritual failed, things could turn much worse. Starting the ritual, Lily began to chant the incantations from the old book. Each word she uttered seemed like an ancient curse being repeated. The candles around her began to burn brighter, their light cutting through the darkness. The mirror seemed to reflect a different image, a shadowy spirit moving closer. Lily felt the power of the spirit, as if it was trying to break free from the mirror. The spirit resists at that moment. The spirit in the mirror began to resist. The mirror shook violently, emitting loud cracking sounds. Lily felt a powerful force push her back, causing her to stagger. A cold voice echoed from the mirror. "No one can stop me." Lily was nearly knocked down, but she persisted, continuing the chant, refusing to give up. The spirit vanishes finally. As Lily completed the last line of the incantation, the mirror burst into blinding light. The spirit in the mirror screamed a piercing scream before being sucked back into the mirror, disappearing completely. The atmosphere in the room slowly returned to calm. Lily felt like a huge weight had been lifted off her shoulders, but she couldn't shake the lingering sense of unease. Life returns to normal right after Margaret's spirit vanished. The atmosphere in the house returned to peace. Lily felt much lighter. She told her mother and brother everything, but they couldn't fully understand what she had been through. Her mother thought Lily had just been haunted by a nightmare. The remaining traces. Even though Margaret's spirit had vanished, Lily couldn't shake the feeling of unease. She knew that although everything had returned to normal, there was still something strange, a part of the darkness that she couldn't see. The mirror had been destroyed, but had Margaret's spirit truly been eradicated? These questions still lingered in Lily's mind. New signs. Weeks later, Lily began to feel strange signs returning. One night, when she woke up, she once again heard whispers in the room. The mirror had been shattered, but a shadowy figure appeared before her. Lily couldn't understand it, but once again, she felt the coldness and darkness slowly creeping back. The ancient traces day by day. Lily tried to continue living normally, but the fear in her heart could not be shaken off. One day, while cleaning her room, Lily found an old photograph in a drawer. It was a black and white picture of her mother when she was young, along with another woman Lily had never seen before. The woman in the photograph had glowing red eyes, similar to the gaze Lily had once seen in the mirror. The secret of the woman. Lily decided to find out more about the woman in the photograph. She asked her mother about the woman, but her mother just shook her head and said that she was an old friend of hers, someone she didn't want to talk about. Lily felt something was wrong. Why did her mother not want to mention this person? She decided to investigate further about the woman in the photo and uncover the connections between her and the mirror. Old memories. Lily couldn't stop thinking about the woman in the photograph. She found some old documents from her mother and uncovered a terrifying secret. The woman, named Eliza, had once owned the mirror and had been haunted by Margaret's spirit. Eliza had tried to destroy the mirror, but Margaret's spirit could not leave. Now, that spirit had passed from Eliza to Margaret, and it continued, trying to claim Lily. The final ritual. Lily decided that she had to end everything. She couldn't live in this haunting state any longer. She went back to the old book and found one final ritual to banish the mirror and Margaret's spirit. But this ritual was extremely dangerous and required a great sacrifice. Lily knew that if she didn't perform it, Margaret's spirit would never leave. Facing the spirit, Lily performed the ritual in the room where the old mirror had once been placed. She had prepared everything: candles, offerings, and a talisman she had found in the book. As she began to chant the final incantation, a cold wind swept through the room, and the mirror began to glow brightly. Margaret's spirit appeared in the mirror, her face full of hatred. She screamed, "I will never leave." The ultimate sacrifice, like a powerful wave. The mirror emitted a blinding light, and Margaret's spirit was sucked into it. But in the final moment, Lily felt an immense pain in her body. She realized that this ritual required a sacrifice. Her own soul would be drawn into the mirror, replacing Margaret's. With one final scream, Lily fought the spirit within her body, and ultimately, she destroyed Margaret. Margaret's spirit vanishes. The mirror suddenly went silent, no longer emitting its blinding light. Lily felt an overwhelming calmness fill the room, as if time had stopped. She felt an immense pain, as though a part of her soul had been taken. But when she looked into the mirror, she could no longer see Margaret's spirit. It had disappeared forever, and the mirror now only reflected the faint light from the surrounding candles. Lily felt a sense of relief, but also emptiness. She had fought and won, but the price had been heavy. Restoring her life, Lily decided not to let the events of the past haunt her any longer. She returned to a normal life, knowing that the traces of the past would always follow her. Every time she looked into the mirror, she still felt a slight chill, but no longer the sense of possession she once felt. She learned to live with those memories, and gradually, she realized that life was never simple, but there was always hope. The wound remains even after the victory. Lily felt that the wound in her heart could never be healed. She had lost part of her soul to destroy Margaret's spirit. Every night, she dreamt of the mirror, the coldness, and the vengeful gaze of Margaret. Lily understood that she would never fully escape those memories. The darkness always returns. One night, Lily woke up, hearing strange sounds in the room. Although the mirror had been destroyed, the chill returned. She turned around and then saw a shadowy figure in the broken mirror. Margaret's spirit had disappeared. But could this darkness truly disappear forever? Lily felt as though everything wasn't really over. Never truly over, Lily looked at the broken mirror, and the feeling of unease rose inside her. Despite the victory, she understood that Margaret's spirit could return at any time. The darkness would never truly disappear. Lily knew that her life would never be as peaceful as before, but she would fight to protect what she loved. The battle is not over. Never stopped feeling an eerie presence around her, even though the mirror had been destroyed and Margaret's spirit had been banished. The darkness seemed unwilling to let go. Lily decided to move on and face what could not be explained. She knew that each day could bring a new battle, but at least she was ready to face any challenge. Margaret's spirit, or the return of darkness. Lily looked at the night sky, the moonlight shining down on the empty house. She knew that the story of Margaret's spirit wasn't truly over. Darkness always had a way of returning, but at least Lily had learned to live with it. She was no longer afraid. and she was ready for the life ahead. The story isn't over.